I'm really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a busy season, and everyone has Saturday. We all have other things to do. But I wanted to make this a live session because I know that there could be some questions about the club and what's included and how. Some questions, of course, I get over email and I respond to those. But in case you want a more detailed explanation and description of what it is, because it's a little bit unusual. And actually, I would want to give you a basic concept, start with kind of explaining the logic behind this club system before we dive into the questions. The general idea is the club is kind of an annual safe, let's say, that holds everything that's been published that particular year. So if it is the club of 2024, so we are talking about all the full PDF versions of all step-by-step photo tutorials that I make almost every week. So each week there is a PDF that's about on average, I would say it's about 10 pages long with lots of photos that give you step-by-step instructions on how to work through this method that's explained in that particular tutorial. And during the year, all of these PDFs are going to be listed in that section of the club dashboard that's called tutorials. The same goes for the video tutorials, the ones that you probably watch on YouTube. They have a version that is the same basically, but you can watch it ad-free. So I post it on a different platform that is does not add any ads or commercials, anything that interferes with your watching experience. And the same goes for the patents and ebooks that are published within a certain year. Like if we're talking about 2024, so that's going to be the patents and the ebooks that I'm going to publish in that year. So they also are listed in a section of a club dashboard that's called ebooks and patents, and you can download those files from that section if you want to. Because what I mean by if you want to, that kind of safe, that holds all that information that's been published in a certain year, it is yours to access anytime. So it doesn't mean that December 31st, that's it, cut-off date, you don't get access to that information anymore. No, your access to that dashboard does not expire. So you will have that information. You don't have to download it if you don't want to, but you have access to all these tutorials. On average, it's more than 40 tutorials a year that are going to get published. Uh, and and you also get the all those you can watch all those video tutorials for as long as you need, and you get those patents ebooks that you can download anytime. So that's that kind of safe, the static part of the club. But we also have an interactive part of the club, that is the club knitting group. And when you join the club, you get that invitation, you get that spot in every of the 12 meetings that happen every month. So every first Saturday of the month, we get together. I'll send you a Zoom link similar to the way that I did today and yesterday. And if you have time, if you're willing to, you're very welcome to join in this meeting that is made of basically like two aspects. They're not usually divided into two parts. Like, okay, part one, we start with a workshop and then that's done. We start with the part two, with the conversation. It usually is kind of joined together because as we knit, then we start asking questions, then we start sharing stories, so it's all very, very kind of unique experience where we work through a workshop, like we learn a new method, but at the same time it is done in a less like classroom environment and more like a friends getting together environment, you see. And then we share our experience about that particular method, our thoughts. Sometimes we would like, oh my gosh, I could use this method when I do this and that. Or, oh, I'm planning to work, a certain project, and this method would be perfect for that. So this year in 2023, we did a whole long swatch with 12 different edgings, side edgings. And that was a very interesting experience. And in 2024, we're gonna tackle 6 pairs of matching cast-ons and bind-off methods. So in January, we will use the first cast-on. That's going to be the chain cast-on. And then we'll work a little bit just to make it kind of visible, that cast-on and bind-off, just to give it some body to that swatch. And then in February, we would finish off the swatch with a matching bind-off. And then in March, we'll tackle a different cast-on, and April, it's going to be a different bind-off. So by the end of the year, we're going to have 6 swatches that feature, each of those will feature matching cast-on and bind-off edge. So you could, again, use those swatches as a tool later on, if you, let's say, start a call and you would think, what pair of methods would work well with that particular stitch pattern or that particular design. And then you look at those swatches and you will decide, oh, this is the perfect match. And then you will just use those methods because you have all that information. And this year in 2024, I'm talking like the year that's going to start in a couple of weeks, in 2024, those workshops will be recorded. And that means that whether you can make it, to the workshop or not, then those recordings will stay in that safe, in that dashboard, again, with you forever. You can use them anytime you need a reminder, anytime you want to learn something new. And let's say you missed that particular workshop live, so you can always go back and watch those recordings. So that's the interactive part of the club that's only available during the year. And another thing that is only available during the year of the club is the discount. That's 25% discount that is yours to use if you plan to get any patterns, courses, anything that is available on my website, all the knitting collections, and it is yours to use for the whole year, from January 1st to December 31st, and it expires only on the January 1st of 2025. So that's basically the interactive part, plus, that kind of safe part that stays with you for as long as you need it. And that's how it works in a nutshell. Later on, when the year is over, those resources that were published in that year, the safe part, they get turned into a knitting collection. So let's say the resources that were published this year in 2023, all of that information is going to be available as a knitting collection. It's going to be knitting collection number 7. I just number them because, by years. And as a member of that year's club, you will still have access to all those resources using the same link and the same password that you get when you sign up for the club. So that's basically how it works. And now I'm ready to answer whatever questions you might have. Again, if you can do it either by just telling me those questions or by writing them in a chat section. So it's totally up to you.
Hi, Marina. It's Jennifer. Hang on, I'll put video back on. I'm baking. But I wanted to ask, I tried to sign up yesterday and it didn't come through for some reason. I just wanted to check whether it had gone through at your end.
The order?
Yeah. You will not know that yet. It's just kind of, is it something that I can check that with you or no?
Yeah, sure. But it's better to send me an email so I have
Perfect.
your email, something I could, check against in the
Match
system. One thing about payments, issues with payment that might happen. They don't so far. Everything seems to be fine. But I know that sometimes PayPal, for some reason, doesn't work well with Apple devices. So sometimes I've got these notes from other people who would say it just keeps being in a loop, like confirm your order and then
Yeah.
it kind of reloads itself and it doesn't go through. So
Okay.
apparently that's only happening with the Apple devices. I don't know what's going on with Apple and PayPal, so how they don't connect. But if that's something that's happening to some of you, then try a different device or try another payment option. You can use any major credit card. If you go to the checkout, there is the link on the top of, when you have the list of the products, then on top of that there is the link to the checkout where there are 3 payment options, and 2 of them do not include PayPal, so you can use any major credit card.
Perfect. And I didn't need to sign in. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jennifer, because I was gonna turn to a different question.
I just wanted to check. I don't sign into my, like the club or the dashboard or whatever separately before I renew. I can just renew.
Okay, that's a very good question, because that's something different. I know it's a little bit unusual for many of you, and I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't mean to make your life harder. What happened was when I just started 10 Rows a Day and started to offer the first courses, they were hosted on a third-party platform. And that platform was designed for offering courses and, clubs and other resources like that. But what they did, they had a very kind of difficult system of steps that you have to sign in and you have to provide your address or more information about yourself, which was not probably necessary, but that was how the system was set up. So I didn't have much to say, about that. And I've got a lot of notes from other people saying that, hey, I don't want to provide that much information, which is understandable. I completely support that. But when I moved all resources to my website directly without any of the third-party platforms, again, one of the reasons so I can be in control, kind of, then I kind of figured out a system that won't involve any logging in. So you don't have to provide any information at all. And you can just log in by using a password. So I think of it as let's say, a big house with lots of rooms, right? And in each room there is a resource. And many rooms are open. It's like, I don't know, tutorials. You can just watch them without any signing in or anything else. But some rooms are locked and there is a key to that door, right? So the key is the password. And if you join the club in one of the previous years, or let's say you signed up for courses, then each course is a room, each club is a room. And for each room, there is a special key, a password. So to access the club dashboard for this year's club, the 2023, I mean, this year that's currently now happening, then you will need a certain link and a password. And to get to the club 2024, to get to that dashboard, you need a different link and a different password that's assigned to you when you place an order. So that's how the system works. There is no logging in. So you don't have to kind of remember your login, password, whatever. All you need to do is just keep those order confirmations, because that's where the passwords are. Just don't delete them from your email. And whenever you need a refresher, you access something, then you just go to your email and find that order confirmation and get that password. Or I know some people, they store it in a separate file, like all these links and passwords. So if that works for you better, then that's another.
Pretend didn't happen. We'll make this beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Worry about sugar. Don't worry about sugar.
So, and here's a question that we have in the chat. how to
How you doing over there,
how to
Swap?
sign up for the club and how much does it cost? Okay, someone's not muted. I think it's Joanne.
Could someone mute?
Yeah.
Yeah, can,
Joanne, sorry, I'm gonna mute you because we have background noises. So how to sign up for the club and how much does it cost? So, to sign up for the club, you just go to 10roseday.com/club 2024. I think it would make sense probably to post a link here, so I'm gonna do it quickly. And you just purchase the club, and then you get, I'm gonna post the link in the chat so that everyone could see it. And once the order goes through, you will get a confirmation email that I was just talking about. And in that email, there is a download section where there is a link to a PDF file that says access Club 2024 access instructions or something like that. And so you just download that PDF file, and that's where you get that link and you get your password. And then you just type in that link or copy and paste it. Of course, that's much easier. and then you just enter your password and you're in, and you will see the club dashboard where all of those resources that I've just discussed are listed. So of course, right now there's not a lot listed. There's just a welcome video and the discount code that's already valid, actually. But as each week goes by, because each week I make a new tutorial and then or something, or I publish a pattern or an ebook, then all of that is gonna get added to all these sections. The dashboard has 4 sections. That's tutorials, video tutorials, ebooks and patterns, and live online meetings. That's the section where you will see those Zoom links to join the meeting, and you will also see, because each meeting also is supported with a quick reference card that shows in a quick photos and quick instructions how the method that we're going to tackle that particular meeting, how it's going to be made. So why quick reference card? Because I know that often we knit on the go. So it's going to be easy for you to, if you wish, to print it out and just have it with you. Lanori, I'm gonna mute you as well because there is a background noise. Yeah. So that's basically how the club is built and the club dashboard and all this information. The deadline, okay, that's a good question. Is there a deadline to join the club 2024? No, there is no deadline. The only deadline is the deadline for the introductory price. There was the question about the cost. So the full price of the club is $67. Right now, the introductory discount is 25%. So up until January 1st, you can get that club at $50.25. And if you are a member of the current club of Club 2023, then your discount is still valid. So you can use that discount, and you should, I strongly recommend it, to save even more. So you can use that 25% discount against the already discounted price, and you can sign up for basically almost half the price, a little bit over half the price. So it's 25% on 25%. And there is no deadline. You can join anytime during the year. I mean, there is no pressure at all. So if you feel that, let's say, in June, you have a spare month and you want to learn more knitting methods, and then, of course, you're welcome to join and download everything that's already been published up until, let's say, June, right? And as well as participate in those new meetings that are still coming up, and using all those resources. And again, it's all yours to keep for as long as you need it. So yeah, no deadline. And even later on, like I said, after the year is over, all those resources, they're turned into a knitting collection. And again, all of these knitting collections are available on the website. So you can get them anytime you want if you are looking for more resources and if you want tutorials, if you want to get access to those PDFs, that of everything that's been published in the previous years, then just go to tenroseday.com/knitting-collections and choose the ones that you would like to get. All those tutorials are listed there, and patterns and ebooks, so you can like make an educated choice. If there's something that you find interesting, then yeah, go ahead and get those collections as well. And
So those you would purchase those then as a member. You would purchase those collections and use your discount, or
yes, that's
Okay.
right. So that's what discount is for. It's actually on everything else that's not included in the club. So all the books, ebooks, courses, knitting collections, whatever else you're interested in,
and
then you can save on that all year. Again, the deadline is January 1st of 2025. So you have a lot of time.
so what is
to
the
decide.
member discount?
It's 25%.
Okay. I have a couple other questions. The first
Sure.
one is more personal. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Marina.
Marina.
It's
Okay.
actually a
Okay.
quite common name, especially in Southern Europe. But the Y comes from Ukrainian background. That's just a different spelling, like a little tweak on a spelling
Mhm.
that is unusual. So, but yeah, it's Marina. Yeah.
And then how many members are in the club, more or less? Like if we did a Zoom, like what would you expect a Zoom to be?
This year, on average, there would be about 25 people who would join the Zoom meetings. So it's quite nice communities. By the end of the year, we got to know each other, and well, I feel like we've become good friends, especially those who would join us every month. And yeah, it's a really nice. It was just the 2023 was the first year when we started doing that. And it was in a way a little bit of an experiment, because I know a lot of people are tired of Zoom, those endless conference meetings and things like that. So I was a little bit cautious about that. But Zoom is amazing. It's a tool, right? It's just the way we use it. If we don't use it for some boring conference, but instead for being together and chatting about knitting, it turned out to be quite a pleasant experience, for me for sure, and I hope for everyone who participated. So this year, but the only concern that I've heard from other knitters, other club members, that of course we are all busy people. Of course we cannot join every month, because there are some other things that we need to do. And there is another aspect, that people who live in a different time zone, because we meet on Saturdays at noon, just as we are meeting today, so the same kind of time and day of the week. But people who live in Australia, let's say, there is no way for them to, wake up in the middle of the night to join our meeting. And I completely understand that. So that's why I decided this year we're going to record them. So those people who were not able to join the meeting live, they would at least be able to watch the workshop part of the meeting, and all the general knit and chat conversation.
And my last question, I don't want to take up time, but I think maybe people would want to know it anyway. Can the patterns that we purchase, can they be downloaded or put in our Ravelry library as well, or is it something just totally separate?
Yes, of course. You can purchase the patterns on Ravelry if that's what you prefer to do. Sometimes I had issues when somebody purchased a pattern of my website, but they want to add it to Ravelry because that's more convenient for them. And in that case, you cannot do it just somehow because Ravelry is a separate safe
Right.
for information, right? So what I did, I would send them a coupon code for 100% discount. So they would buy it off Ravelry, but don't pay anything. But this
Okay.
way they could get it. If that's something that you would like, or you can, they are all listed, the patents are all listed on Ravelry, so you can just buy them from there if that's more convenient for you. The ebooks is a different question, and which is, I mean, I still don't understand why it happens, but Ravelry does not accept ebooks or any informational material about methods. They only accept patents. So if there is no patent, then no matter whether the book is all about knitting techniques and, you know, tips and tricks, they just won't allow it to be published on Ravelry, to be submitted to their database. I mean, that's their choice. That's how they are working, and I respect that. But just know that that's the reason why I couldn't publish the ebooks on Ravelry as well.
Okay, so when you say you use the password for the year that we're a member, right? And you said you can download anything you want that's in there, that's in for that year. Do you always have to download it? Like in 2024, in 2025, will we have, in order to access all of that still, will we have to have it already downloaded, or will the password still work to get in there to see old things?
No, you don't have to download it. Like I said, your access is yours for forever, I would say, you know, given the
Okay.
lifespan,
Yeah.
you know, all of us. So, no, your access to the dashboard does not expire ever. It's yours. You don't even have to change the link or anything. So everything is going to be working as is, even after the this information, this collection of resources becomes the knitting collection. So 1, 2, 5 years, you know, from now, you will still be able to access all of these resources. You don't have to download them unless you need to, you want to, because we all function in a different, you know, ways. And if it is more convenient for you to have a dedicated folder on your computer, so you know, okay, that's there, it's mine, then of course go ahead and download it. If you'd rather save your computer memory space and use the memory space of my website, then yeah, keep it there and just download it as needed. So it's completely yours to keep for as long as you need it. That's how it works. And the access instructions are the same. Yeah. Okay, so we have some questions in the chat. Diane is asking, how much of the content is for advanced knitters? That's a good question. When I write tutorials, I usually think of just a knitting friend, you know. I'm not thinking of an absolute beginner. I'm not thinking of someone who is very advanced. I'm just thinking about you, about people whom I met in, you know, personally, and people who ask me questions over email. So I kind of understand approximately the level of skill, let's say, the need for a certain type of information. So that's the person I have in mind for whom I write those tutorials. And whether it's an advanced knitter could be, because the methods that I write about, mostly, they are not the methods that you would just, you know, Google and find somewhere. Very often what I do is I test everything. So what I do, let's say I get a question, because the majority of tutorials are based on questions from you, my friends. So when I get a question and I think, of course I respond to that, and then I think, that's something that could be needed, you know, that other knitters could have issue with that. So that could be helpful for somebody else. And then what I do check, I do Google, of course, I check what's out there about this method. And I use lots of books. I have a whole big library of books, and I love old books because they are the most precious, because that's where you get, you know, all sorts of tips and tricks that are forgotten often, and unfairly so, because they are really good methods. And then I test everything, and I find a way that is the easiest and the one that gets the best results. So I kind of find that tweak, that little thing, or sometimes I even come up with that tweak as I keep testing those methods. And that's what I put in a tutorial. Whether it's for advanced knitters or for beginners, it's for everyone. You know what? Sometimes people who've been knitting for decades and they send me messages about that. They say, hey, I've been knitting for like 50 years. And that's something I've never heard of. And that's very helpful to me. So it's very fluid, process. So whether it's for advanced or for beginners, it's good for everyone. And I try to make it as simple as possible, and they try to explain it in really little, smallest details, so that anyone could understand and could follow those instructions, even knitters that are not very skilled, that are new to knitting, and also knitters that's been knitting for many years. Sometimes maybe the instructions are oversimplified, but I already asked our knitting group about that, because it kind of bugs me a bit whether I'm kind of oversimplifying things. But the feedback I've got was it's better to give more details than less. So, and that's what's been, keeping me going. So that's what I keep doing. I'd rather give more details. And if you are more advanced and something seems like common sense to you, great, just skip that part and move on to the next part. But if somebody is not as experienced yet, then they might find that little detail helpful. So that's basically my way of making tutorials. So I would say it's for knitters of all skill levels. Okay, so
Marina, this is
there is
Monique.
another.
Marina, this is Monique. I just wanted to add on to what you said. I was a member of your club this past year, and I have been knitting for decades. I won't say how many, but as you said, you explain things very clearly, and while it may seem simplistic to an intermediate or advanced knitter, there's something else that we're picking up from that. They may just be, a beginner may just be trying to figure out how to do that stitch. An intermediate or advanced knitter is paying attention to the fact that this edge is stretchy or this edge is stiff or what have you. So there's always something that you're going to be picking up. It was a nice laid back atmosphere. Nobody felt intimidated, or newer knitters, weren't made to feel idiotic because they didn't understand a certain concept or anything like that. So I thought it was great.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you. Yeah.
That is well said and very accurate. Like it was really fantastic. And I have been knitting over 40 years, and I'm having a blast learning new stuff. And it is written so that when my brain fog is in there going, what? I can just go back and it's the basics. It's the steps. So no, don't change that. It's very handy.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, my friends. Okay, another next question. I'm getting confused. Is the 2023 collection included in the club 2023, or is it extra to get the tutorials as a collection? The collection of all resources that are published in 2023 are included in the club 2023. So that's safe, that we were talking about, right? And they're yours to access and to keep for as long as you need them. Whatever was published, let's say in 2022, is included in a different safe. That safe was at some point a club 2022. And then after the 2022 ended, it was turned into a knitting collection number 5, I believe. So that's how it works. So if you want to get the tutorials, all tutorials and patterns and the ebooks that were published in any of the previous years, then that's a knitting collection. Whatever is in the were published in 2023 is included in the Club 2023. It's all yours to keep. And the same is going to be with the 2024. So whatever is going to be published next year, the 2024, that's going to be in the Club of 2024 forever, yours, if you choose to join, of course. The next question is from Lori. Hi everyone, Lori here. I was on the 2023 meetings and have already purchased my 22. Marina is, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Lori, for the question. Thank you, Martha. Yeah, I also had a really great time during the meetings. It's like I said, it started as an experiment, kind of testing the waters, but I'm really glad that I did start it because it's a very unique experience, that thing that we often lack these days. We don't have that interpersonal communication. It's mostly like digital resources, something that's already been written, but this is a very special atmosphere. I really enjoyed those meetings, and I hope that you did too, whoever participated. And we're gonna keep going next year, learning more methods and sharing more stories and tips. Okay, how much? Okay, advanced knitters, that already we have agreed. Can a new knitter benefit from the club, or is the club for more experienced knitters? Yeah, like I said, it's for everyone. I don't personally, in my head, I don't divide people between this is a new knitter, this is intermediate, this is advanced. I don't have those levels really as a concept for myself. I know it's a common practice to say, okay, this is advanced knitter, or this is a new knitter. And of course, I realize that some methods would be way too challenging for somebody who is just starting, right? And some methods would probably be too plain for somebody who is looking for something more challenging, right? So of course, but I don't, you know what? I used to run a yarn store, and I met a lot of knitters that way. And there was one lady, a young girl. She came to me and she said, it was about this time of year, November probably. And she said, you know what? I have a boyfriend and I love him, and I want to make something very special for him. So I want to make a vest that is, like those golfer vests with a V-neck, a ribbing. It's plain stocking stitch, but it's V-neck ribbing, and it has the stripes on the ribbing. So it's like that very kind of classic type of vest. And she said, I don't have a pattern and I've never knit a stitch in my life, but I want to make it for him, And I'm like, okay, if you're up to it, let's give it a try. So basically, and she brought a photo. So I kind of sketched her pattern. I kind of explained how to measure the vest or sweater, that her boyfriend wears right now, to get his at least some measurements. So we kind of worked with her through this process. And you know what? She made it. She made it. This is her first knitting project. And she did a terrific job. And at some point when she was stuck, she would come back and say, hey, I don't understand how to do this. And then we would kind of work through that together. And she made it. And it was a pretty good job done. So that was the first project. Another lady that I met, again, this way, she came to a store and she came with a pattern, and it was a lacy shawl with edging, and a pretty big one, actually, quite a generous, nice shawl. And she said, you know what, I don't knit, but I want to make it. And she made it. And that's like amazing. So these are the newest knitters that you can imagine, right? People who are just tackling their first project, but anything is possible if when there is a will, there is a way, right? So for me, levels are not important. It's more important the enthusiasm and the motivation, probably, which is enthusiasm is part of it, right? So if you want to make something, you will. My job is to make it easier for you, so that's why I make all those tutorials about all those little methods that could make our life easier, or methods that are nice and beautiful and let's say knit couture-ish, but often are too complicated. So I try to make them easier so that more knitters could apply them and use them and make something really beautiful. Because all these little methods, they do show. They don't show like right in your face that you see, oh, okay, this is that method. Not all of them do. Actually, quite few of them do. But most methods, they show as a general kind of feel like, oh, this is beautiful, or this is so well finished. You don't even understand why it happened, but it happened because you've been using those little tips and tricks. And that's what makes it, I don't know, magical, some kind of, interesting twist that and makes us proud, right? When we make something and we put it on and we feel good in it, and we are not hiding any kind of spot that has a mistake in it. So, and then other people would start complimenting us on the projects that we made. It feels good. It feels good. It's worth all those little bits of knowledge that you had to learn to get to that point. So it's really, really worth it, again, in my opinion. Okay, so and wasn't able to attend the group meetings much this year. I'm just reading the chat, but I'm joining again this year and hoping to be able to attend more in 2024. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, Shelley, why we're gonna record this the meetings next year, because I know that many of us, were not able to attend, and it's also a big issue for people living in Australia and other, far from us, time zones. And actually, I've got a message just this morning from a lady in Australia, and she said thank you so much for deciding to record those meetings, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to access that information. So no matter whether you will be able to attend or not, you will still be able to learn those methods that we're gonna discuss during the meetings. Okay, any more questions?
No, and my computer worked fine, letting me join the club. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. So you were able to do that. Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
PayPal never went through on the credit card, and it's like, don't bother now. so I got the
It was
immediate
PayPal,
access.
right? Yeah,
I did it by
it's been
PayPal yesterday, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And this time I used not my Apple, and I did it a different way, and it's immediate access, the same as last year. So
Yeah, I
thank you.
keep getting once in a while those messages like someone cannot pay, big, and by asking questions and trying to figure out how to help. It's always Apple device. So I don't know. I tried to Google. There is no information, of course, about any discrepancies between the PayPal and Apple, but somehow something is going on there.
They
So
need
if
magic,
that's
like you're knitting.
exactly.
They need somebody to go and tweak that. Yes.
And tweak.
Yeah. Yeah, go
We
tweak
do
that,
need,
guys.
yeah.
Myrna,
Yeah,
this is
every
Nancy
area
Wil-
needs those
This
tweaks.
is Nancy Wilburn, and I just wanted to say that when I first started watching you, of course, it was with your videos on YouTube. And then when you had your class and that we've had this past year, I was so excited, and I'm really excited that you're going to have a new one. I think you're a fabulous teacher, and I think most of us agree to that.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Nancy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It really means a lot to me. Yeah, I know I'm gonna sound cheesy and so on, but I was telling already to the knitting group that it's I really want to help. So that's basically in a nutshell. And I saw being running a yarn store, I saw those people who were intimidated by knitting, scared of it, scared to make something different than the book tells you to do. And that shouldn't be that way. So I'm on a mission to make it easier and more fun for all of us. Having fun myself actually in the process, because it's a lot of joy to try different methods and find the ones that work well, and then something that I would want to share with my knitting friends, with you. So that's also I'm quite privileged, say, having a job that I love and having such an amazing community to share my findings with. So yeah, thank you. You make it possible. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, thank you. I'm forever grateful for that.
I also really loved Monique's comment because it covered everybody. She really was very succinct with that comment.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you, Monique, once again for the kind words.
Well,
Okay.
just thinking about that, and you were talking about somebody coming into your shop and they wanted to knit something, but they hadn't knit before or what have you. That's kind of like with some of the edgings that we had this past year. For somebody that may be knitting a pieced sweater the first time, they may not be worried about the edging, but somebody that's doing it for the fourth, fifth, or sixth time, they might be a little more concerned with, I'd like that edge to look this way so that when I take my jacket off, this is what people see. So that, goes right into what you were mentioning about having the different levels. So everybody's able to pick up different pieces.
Yeah, I agree. It's not so much about the level as it is about the perspective. You kind of, at some point, you are happy to have just something, done, and it's exciting to just see the fabric growing at the bottom of your needles. But then you get, okay, that's okay. That's yeah, I know how it works right now. I want more, and that more would be a nice edging, and then it would move to a nice way to put pieces together. The seaming is also a big issue usually, and then it's something else, and yeah, that's probably the steps that kind of keep us growing as knitters, or any other in any other area of life. So that's basically how it works. You're right. Yeah, thank you, Monique, for that. Yeah, I like it. It is often an advantage to not know what others think you should be afraid to try. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, we shouldn't be afraid to try anything that is not hurting anyone else. So that could be the only limiting aspect. But otherwise, yeah, especially with knitting, it's such an amazing craft. I mean, all crafts are amazing, and every craft is amazing in its own way. But because I know knitting more and I'm excited about knitting, I often compare it to music. It's like 12 notes, and we get a variety of melodies and songs and all sorts of different genres. And well, it's like the sky is the limit. So basically the same as with knitting. We have just a few stitches. It's knit, purl, and yarn over. That's basically what we work with. But we could make a variety of stitch patterns, shapings, and edgings, and anything else. So it's really an amazing way to express ourselves and to feel confident about what we are doing, because it's not that hard, and it
Why is
brings
it
us
not coming
joy.
to my eye?
So yeah, I'm glad that we all get together and that we all like that craft, and it keeps us happier, I guess.
I'm curious,
So
does
if there
anybody
are
else,
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm curious, does anybody else out there find they mix up baking and knitting and accidentally call their knitting patterns recipes and their recipes patterns? Because I do. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be
I bet you're out there, people, yeah, see.
that would be me. Yeah, I think baking and knitting goes together pretty well hand in hand. Yeah. And actually other things in life, like gardening, for example. I know a lot of knitters are gardeners too, so I think it has to do with patience, probably, yeah, that aspect. Baking is more like baking and knitting is more recipes, like you said. It's like step by step and you get something. But knitting and gardening is more about patience. Just do something and just watch it grow, and then you'll get something in the end. So yeah, what can I say? Knitters are amazing people. So I think we all agree. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I would want to wish you the happiest holiday season. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today and finding time to stay together for this hour. Thank you for your questions, and I do hope to meet and see again many of you next year in a January meeting or any other meetings that you want to join. Thank you so much, my friends. You have a wonderful holiday season. I'll talk to you next Friday. Okay. Bye-bye.